we are going to go ahead. We're waiting for more people to join us, but we also are going live within our YOLO page because we have a lot of people on for Europe. We were just talking this morning with our leadership call and how the Europeans love that we go live. We also have a YOLO YouTube page where you guys can see years and years. I think we were up to about 3 years back of Monday night calls that we do. So you are always welcome to go there and download any of these awesome calls that we have. So very, very, very excited for tonight. Last time, Emma, you were part of our boot camp. So it was a year ago. How crazy is that? A year ago, you were on boot camp, and so we're back for more. But before we get started, I just wanted to welcome you all. And we are giving away lots of live stream for the upcoming 90-day game plan that Linda and the Australian team are putting together. So big thumbs up and big love to everybody over there in Australia. I think Mo won a ticket, Manon won a ticket, a couple other people have won tickets as well. So yeah, you might win, Veronica. We'll see tonight. Before we get started, though, I also wanted to let everybody know that there's, as you know, here in the United States, Texas went through some major challenges, and many members of our team were affected greatly by what was happening in Texas. And I will be donating a percentage of everybody on YOLO throughout the world. A percentage I will be donating of all of our new customers for this month of February. I'll be donating in your behalf to be able to help those in Texas. So I just wanted to let everybody know that we'll be doing that. So anyway, before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Emma. Emma. So she is a working mom of 2 little ones. She started her Juice Plus business with a newborn baby, me too, and a 1-year-old. I did not do that 4 years ago. And her passion is to make women feel it's okay to be who they are. So I am very excited. If you guys could all mute your lines, or otherwise I'm going to need to mute you. But we are going to let Emma, let's just start with your story, Emma. Just give us a little bit more background about your story. And yeah, and then we'll.
Amazing. Oh, thank you. Thank you so very much. I hope that everyone can hear me okay. I am in Queensland in Australia, on the Gold Coast, the sunny Gold Coast. It's like 11 a.m. over here. And I'm actually halfway through a work shift. I've had to come out, stop a training session that I'm doing to quickly do this. So if I have to start talking about Whoppers, because I work at Hungry Jack's, if I have to start talking about Whoppers, then I'm like, I'm on a work call, then you'll know what I'm doing. And that's the reason why I start talking about cheeseburgers and Whoppers. But thank you so much, Lauren, for asking me to be on. But I started my journey probably about 5 years ago now in May. This year it will be 5 years ago. And in the beginning, I actually said no to the business for like the first 6 months. My brother, Brian Marsh, who created massive success in Australia, him and his wife Fiona were asking me and my husband Cameron to join the business, and I kept saying no. And I was like, first of all, I didn't want to have to talk about fruits and vegetables on social media. Secondly, I didn't want to be part of an illegal pyramid scheme. And thirdly, I was like, you guys are working really hard, and that actually scares the crap out of me. And I don't want to have to work that hard to do what you guys are doing. So I had all of these stories in my head of like why I couldn't do it or why I didn't want to do it. I jumped on the product. So I was pregnant at the time, and I had I found out I was pregnant when I had a 9-month-old little baby. So that was a beautiful, wonderful surprise, which came in a lot of FML moments, but you know that it was a great surprise now. But I jumped on the product. I really enjoyed the product, and Fiona said, why don't you just get a franchise at the same time? It'll be cheaper for you in the long run. So I jumped on the product, and I got and then I was like, well, maybe I can do this business. Maybe it's not all those things that I think it is. Maybe I will be successful in it. So I jumped on, and I remember getting like my first couple of customers, and I got to my first promotion level, which in Australia was called DBF at the time. And I got there by me jumping on the products, and one of my girlfriends did, and then a girlfriend worked it as well. And I was basically like, yep, I'm completely balling it. This is it. I'm going to be a millionaire now. I'll be just like Brian and Fiona because I've got my 3 customers and I'll be completely fine. Fast forward about 2 months, and the Juice Plus company paid me $6 And that was it. And I remember sitting there thinking, $6, like, what is this? Like, I called Fiona and I was like, Fiona, I got paid $6 from Juice Plus. And she was like, $6? I don't even know where you pull $6 from. And still 5 years later, I don't know where $6 even comes from. Anyway, and Fiona was like, how many customers did you bring on last month? And I'm like, I didn't bring on any customers. And she was like, okay. And did you bring on any team? Like, no, I didn't bring on any team either. And she was like, well, Emma, dreams don't really work unless you do. And I was just like, oh, whatever, Fiona, F you. So I hung up the phone to her. I was cranky at her for calling me on my own BS. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to worry about that. So a couple of months kind of kept passing. And obviously I wasn't making an income because I wasn't making an impact at all. And I wasn't really doing much on the business. And I had thrown the whole thing in and I was just like, whatever. It is just one of those like crappy things. And it's an absolute scam, and like I just hate the thing, and I hated it. I was so negative about it for such a long time, and I got to the point where I was about to give birth to my baby girl, and we obviously had a 1-year-old boy at the time, and I was working 5 days a week in my traditional job, and I didn't want to have to return to work with a 12-week-old and a 1-year-old, but that was just it. I was just going to have to do that, but everything was going to be fine because my mum was going to step in. Mum was going to help babysit. She was going to take over, and I was like, that's okay, my mum can just raise my kids for me, it's fine. And then my mum got breast cancer. She's totally fine now, but at the time she was super sick. She went through a lot of treatments and all the rest of it. So me and my husband were in this situation where we were going to have a newborn baby and a 1-year-old, and then I was going to have to go back to work full time. Number one, we couldn't afford to do daycare. Daycare in Australia, I'm sure it's the same over there, it's ridiculously expensive. And number two, that's not the life that we wanted for our children. So I remember taking my parents to the airport before my mum had to go and do had to have her breast removed. She wanted to go on this cruise back when you could cruise before COVID. So I was driving her to the airport and driving my mum and dad to the airport, and they were just lecturing me the whole way there. And I'm like 30 at the time, and they're like 31, and they're lecturing me the whole way there going, what are you going to do, Emma? Like, you're going to be working shift work, you're going to be working full time, your husband works 60 hours a week. Like, how are you going to do that and raise children and blah, 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 blah. And I dropped them off at the airport and I just burst into tears. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Why can I not do this? Like, why can I not do this business? And then like, when you're like, you're sad and you're depressed and you're crying. So like you jump on social media to like numb the pain. So I was like, right, here I go. I'm just going to jump on social media to get rid of all the pain and everything that I'm feeling. And Kira, who I think was on YOLO last week, Kira Love, was actually live into Team YOLO. This is 4 years ago now. She was live doing a talk with Lauren about belief and believing in yourself. And so I was like, oh, what is Kira banging on about today? So I clicked on it and I started watching it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. Like every single thing that Kira was saying was exactly what it is for me. I was like, I literally, like, I believe in the product. The product is fine. I really, really enjoy the product. I believe in the business after I did a lot of research and realized like it wasn't all the negative things I was telling myself, but it was the belief in myself. I had absolutely zero belief in myself that I could actually be successful at something. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm hoping that other people feel me right now when I say that. So I was driving from the airport home to my husband, and I'm heavily pregnant at the time, and I'm driving home to my husband, and I say to Cameron, I'm like, Cameron, you know what? I'm going to do that Juice Plus business. And Cameron was like, oh yeah, that thing that pays you $6 a month. Yeah, righto, that's going to happen. Like, I'd like to see that, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, Cameron, I've decided, like, I'm actually going to do that Juice Plus business. You see, before this, I'd always hear everyone crap on about decision. You have to make the decision. There's a defining moment. You're going to find your why, blah, blah, blah. And I would be like, I found my deciding moment. I want to be a millionaire. So why am I not a millionaire yet? Like, that's what I would be thinking. I was like, I made the bloody decision and I'm still not a millionaire. That was one of my common things for 6 solid months. I would say that. Anyway, I got to this point where I was like, no, this is it. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to do this for our children. I'm going to do this for our family. Like, I do not want to have to sacrifice all this time with the kids to go to my traditional job. I want to be able to earn $2,000 a month, like $2,000 Australian a month. So I was like, right, I can totally do this. I can totally do this. And then I went and I had my baby girl, and I came back from hospital with a newborn baby and a 1-year-old. And I was like, where am I going to start? I just have to start somewhere. And so I kind of just got started. I just started posting things on social media. I started doing things, having conversations to people. I started sharing my own personal experience and my own personal stories. And then bit by bit, like, it started to grow. And like, no, I wasn't like earning $2,000 a month within 6 months. But do you know what I did get to do? Instead of having to go back to work, when my little girl was 12 weeks after, like we have Centrelink over here, like government payments. And so after I had 12 weeks of them, I didn't have to go back to work until she was 5.5 months old. So I got like an extra 2.5 months with my baby. And any mother out there knows 2.5 months with a baby is like 20 years in like adult world. The difference between a 3-month-old baby and a 6-month-old baby. So it was so beautiful and it was so nice. And that's why I'm forever grateful for this business, because it gave me that opportunity to stay off work a little bit longer. And then from that, like going through all of those emotions and everything, I kind of was like, right, I'm going to have this, now I've got this passion, this desire to be able to share that with other people. Back to the whole, when Lauren mentioned, like Emma likes to like show people like how to be themselves or whatever it is. It's that came to me because a couple of years into my business, I had a little bit of success, and I got to like in Australia, we used to, it's changed now. I think we're the same as America now, but it was like SP and then SC and then SSC. And I had hit all the S's and the C's and D's or whatever else that was needed to be hitting. And so I was like, cool, I'm like amazing and great. And I was about 2 years into my journey, and then I got hit with something that I didn't even know was a thing. And I remember like James, even, and like Linda, who is our leader in Australia, her husband would always talk about at another level, there's another devil. And I used to be thinking like, James really needs some help from his upline, because like I don't have any problems with these devils and these levels. Like, what is he ever talking about? But then I completely hit mine, and it was the comparison game. Recently, I found out that comparison is the number one reason why people will leave a network marketing company. And I think like, to me, and it's so true, like comparison is the complete, like the disgustingness of the world, I like to call it. Like obviously you can have positive comparison, but you can also have negative comparison. And for me, it was like really negative comparison here. So what had happened is that I had got to this level, and I joined the business the same time that somebody else did. And I'd seen them, because we kind of like got our promotions around the same time and whatever else. And I was like, okay, cool. So one day we're out at a live event, and I was recognized for hitting SSC, I think it was SSC. Sorry, I have a lisp as well. Like I have a speech impediment and stupid Juice Plus with all their S's and all their promotions. So it's hard for everyone to keep up. And I speak really fast. I'm sorry. I hope that you can understand. And I can't see comments. So if anyone can't hear me, please just like come off mute and tell me. Anyway, so I hit SSC the exact same time that this other person in the business hit SSC as well. And so I was like, okay, cool. Like that's, you know, congratulations to her or whatever. I didn't think anything of it. 2 months later, I'm at the exact same event, and this same person goes QNMD, gets recognized for QNMD. And I was like, WTF? Like how on earth does she just get to QNMD? And I'm so far away from being QNMD. Like how does this even happen? So I was like, okay, I'm, you know, what do you do when like people are really successful, like, and you're not? Like you stalk them on social media. So I pull out my phone and I start stalking her on social media, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there it is. She had 50,000 followers. She was the health coach. She was the personal trainer. She was the yoga teacher. She was a freaking Pilates lady from the West. Like she was absolutely everything that anybody needed to be successful in this business. This is what I'm telling myself. And I was like, oh, that's what it is. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a health coach. I'm not a before and after photo. I'm not pretty enough. I don't have enough Instagram followers. I don't even know what TikTok is. I can't even work out how to download that stupid app. So I'm like, all of these things that is going through like my head of like, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. But I had made that decision to be successful. So I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to become that. I'm going to become Instagram famous. I'm going to work out how to do that. So for the next 2 months of my business, I sat there like, and literally like at this stage, I had like a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. So I had like 15 minutes in the morning when like the Wiggles was on, which is like an Australian like kids show. I had 15 minutes in the afternoon when Play School was on. And then I had about an hour in the middle of the day where my daughter would sleep. And I'd say to my son, like, I will give you 7 lollipops if you just don't kill the baby while I'm working. So I didn't have a lot of time to like F around and do anything else but to build my own business. But instead, I was on my phone 24/7 watching everybody else build their businesses and comparing myself to them. And I was like, right, they've got all these filters and they've got these white borders and they've got these videos and they've got this TikTok thing where they point into the words and they're dancing. And I'm like, that's what I need to do. I need to work out how to do all of these different things. Otherwise, I'll never be successful. So this went on for like 2 months and my business went backwards. I had dropped off customers because I wasn't doing customer care. I hadn't brought on any more customers because I was like too busy trying to get everybody interested in me. And then this is when I called my upline, Brian, and I said to Brian, I was like, Brian, I just can't do it anymore. And Brian's like, what can't you do, Emma? And I'm like, I just can't do it. I can't become Instagram famous and be a health coach and work out how to use TikTok and be all of these different things. I can't do it anymore. And then Brian was like, after about 17 minutes, Brian stopped laughing at me. And then Brian was like, Emma, comparison is the thief of all joy. You don't need to be anything but the person that you are. It is a waste of you to try and be somebody different. So then that's when I was like, you know what? He's so true. And I never think he's right because I think he's an arrogant asshole. No, he's not. He's lovely. But I never say that he's right, but he's right on that. And then I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to become a wedding. So being a wedding means if you picture the last wedding that you went to, like you don't remember what the bridesmaids' dresses looked like or the hair was like or the makeup was like or the photos were like. You don't remember any of that. The only thing that you remember is a feeling that it gave you. So I just thought if I could go out there and just wedding the shit out of every single person that I meet, then I would be completely fine in this business. And trust me when I say this, you can build more relationships in a 2-month period caring about other people than you can in a 2-year period trying to get other people to care about you. And so that's when that's when my business took off, because I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. It's like that quote, my favorite quote in the world, like where she stepped out of the race that she never wanted to be in and then she proceeded to win. And do you know how refreshing it is? Like, do you know how refreshing it is for your team and for your people and for everybody around you when you can just show up as you and you don't try and be anybody that you're not, and you don't try and be, you know, the perfect, like professional, like fruits and vegetables in a capsule person. Like you're just you, like you're just being exactly who you are. I remember recently where like I go, because I don't go through the comparison, what's it called? The comparison roller coaster all of the time. And recently I went through it again and I was on a team freestyle training and Adam was on and it was a girl, we're going to name her Betty. Betty had been in the business for the exact same time, like pretty much the same time as me. And I knew that her business was really taking off with a lot of momentum. So I was like, okay, I need to find out exactly what Betty's doing. So Betty's on there and she's saying, you know what I did? I just mastered my morning routine. And I was like, okay, master your morning routine. What's that mean, Betty? So Betty went on to explain about how she was meditating and she was journaling and she was eating crystals for breakfast. And I was like, right, I can do that. And I'm like, that's not a problem. So I went to bed that night and I was like, oh, because Betty explained as well, get all your DMO done first thing in the morning. And I was like, okay, I can do all that before I go to work and before I have to get the kids up and get them dressed and drop them at school and go to kindy and make lunches and go to work for the day and do all that. I'm going to meditate for 5 hours. I'm going to drink 7 liters of celery juice. I'm going to work out which way the moon is facing and I'm going to journal to my heart's content. And I'm like, and I'm going to do all of that and get it all done. It's going to be so amazing. And I'll definitely do my DMO. So the next day I set my alarm and then it's like 4:30 in the morning and I was like, my alarm's about to go off. But instead of my alarm going off, I get hit in the head with a Paw Patrol book from my son who was like, Mummy, I'm up. And I was like, FML. So immediately I was just like, great. Where's my 5 hours of meditation and my Zen time and my practicing my yoga in the sunset so I can put that on Instagram? I'm like, I'm one step behind already. So then I move on. It's about 6 a.m. at this point, and I'm like, okay, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. So I go out to the kitchen, and then I'm like, okay, I'm making toast or whatever, and I'm like for the kids, and I'm like, all right, let me do my DMO. Now it's time to do DMO. So we have our brand in Australia is Mummies on a Mission, like that's our team slogan. So I'm like texting on my phone, and I'm like, come and join Mummies on a Mission. It's so great to work around my kids. So at the same time, I'm yelling at my son, going, "Where are your school shoes? And get off your sister's face!" And like, how did you spill jam everywhere? Like you were having honey toast, but for some reason there's jam on your school shoes. Like that literally happened this morning. I don't even know how that happened. Anyway, so and I'm screaming at him and trying to tell women to come and work from home because it's so freaking fun. Said no one ever. Anyway, and so then I went to the next stage and I was like, okay, it's now 7 o'clock in the morning. You can still salvage this, Emma. You can do it. Your DMO's gone. You've meditated nothing. You're trying to find concealer to like cover up your black eye because of the Paw Patrol book incident from 2.5 hours ago. So I'm like, I can salvage it. I can still do it. And then I'm like, hang on, I still feel pretty good about myself. What haven't I done today? Oh, I haven't posted on social media. That's what I need to do next. So here I am in the kitchen trying to create this epic bowl of like some goodness, and my blender like explodes because I have a $19 blender from Kmart. And if you're going to buy something from Kmart, which is like a amazing store here, you have to buy like the $27 blender, not the $19 blender. Anyway, bought the $19 blender. It explodes, shake all over the wall. That was never going to happen. Social media post goes out the window. Then while I'm on social media, there it is. Oh, look at that. Karen bought on 75 team last month and 26 customers again for the month of January. And yes, I am talking about all your Canadian people on this call. Anyway, so then like, it's just like a B team and you're just like, wow, look what they've done. And I'm not the type of person that looks at that and goes, wow, that's so inspiring. I look at that and I'm like, what a bitch. Like, I can't believe she bought on another 20 customers. How is she doing this? This is unbelievable. Anyway, so I get off the phone and then it's 7:30 in the morning and I think to myself, wow, by 7:30 in the morning, I have completely been able to derail my business, derail my belief within myself, and derail myself down to absolutely nothing. And this is what women do like 5 days a week, pretty much. Like this happens 5 or 6 days a week to most people in our business. Like 80% of us go through this every single day. So in times like this, I'm reminded when I went to NMD school a couple of years ago, Shani, one of our beautiful leaders in Australia. Shani got up on like the 12th hour. This is the only thing I could remember from NMD school and I took away from it. But Shani gets up on like the 12th hour and Shani says, the universe will never deliver anything else to you until you can sort out the stuff that you've already got. And then it hits me. Shani wasn't, well, I didn't interpret that as Shani saying, you know, come back from NMD school, quit your job, get rid of your kids and like, you know, set the washing on fire. She wasn't saying that. She was saying you need to sort out like what you have right now from the way that you look at it. So in that moment, I used like Kira's favorite word, which is surrender. So I just surrender to the moment of the chaos and the, you know, and the shake on the wall, the Paw Patrol book to the face and all of that stuff. Like I just surrender to that and remind myself that that's my season that I'm living in. That's not Betty's season from the training the night before. We're living in two completely spots right now in our lives. I forgot what I was going to say because I was going to mention something about Betty again, but I got distracted by something else. So in these moments, like that's where I go back to Shani's words and I just think Shani's totally right. That's completely it. Like it's surrendering to the moments of your life right now. And sometimes you have to be reminded in this business that it's not about everything you can't do. No, I can't wake up and meditate for 5 hours and, you know, work out how to use TikTok and do all these things. But you know what I can do? I can get to work 15 minutes earlier and do my DMO peacefully in the car. I can listen to a 10-minute motivational YouTube clip while I'm putting my hair and makeup on in the morning instead of trying to wake up and meditate for 5 hours. I can, you know, give, like in Australia, this franchise at $165. I can give this franchise to someone for $165, like to a working mum of 3 kids that doesn't do anything outside of work and children. I can for $165, which I think is $50 in the US, I can give like the stay-at-home mum the opportunity to be able to have a community of people to lean into when she feels sad. Like that's the stuff that I can do. And I think sometimes we concentrate on all the things that we can't do and don't concentrate on enough of all the things that we can do. I made a promise to my daughter. So 4 years ago when I gave birth to my daughter, I remember thinking to myself, I was lying there in the hospital with her and I remember looking at her and I remember thinking to myself, like how I show up as now will define how she shows up as in the future. Like, and it's such a true moment. Like who I show up as right now will define who she will show up as. And I'm like, do I want to show up as someone that just sits there and compares my life to other people's and feels all sad about it? Or do I want to realize that comparison is really the thief of all joy? And my hot tips are get rid of anyone on social media that gives you that. If you're following people that make you feel bad about yourself, unfollow them, whether they're in the business or not in the business. Like I don't follow a single person that makes me feel bad about myself or makes me feel like I'm not enough. I also want to prove to my daughter that I can show up every single day and I don't let the BS thoughts of I'm not pretty enough, skinny enough, shiny enough, or whatever BS thoughts going around in my head that day, but I don't let that thought ruin me, like ruin my chances of an opportunity to give my family everything that they deserve. So they're my little notes. I don't know how far over time I've gone, Lauren. 27 minutes.
I literally am texting everybody that I peed in my pants. Like I mean, all I can say, I put in there, preach it, preacher, you know, because I think you just spoke truth into everybody, right? That we all go through it. That, you know, a quote that I have in my book is to be a person you're not is to waste the person you are. And I love everything that you just said about, what is that quote that she stepped out of the race she didn't, what was that one?
That she stepped out of the race that she never wanted to be in, created her own lane and proceeded to win.
I love that. I love it. That's a great, and I love what you said, what's the feeling, be the wedding, just so many golden moments and everything, but really just truths. So Emma, I think everybody right now is blown away by that conversation with us, because it really was just truths. I mean, how attracted are people to you because you're so true?
Mm,
It's like,
yeah.
I'm like, what do people? I mean, I bet you every single one, like you've been on calls before, but how many you are like, the way that she made you feel, and that you would want whatever she's got just because of the way she made you feel. Just put in the chat if you're like, oh my gosh, like how she made you feel. How did she make you feel just right now? How did she make you feel? I'm curious. How did she make you feel?
Thanks, team. I can't see the chat, but I can see that Carrie Ann's writing something. So thank you.
I love Emma. I love Emma. Normal. What else? Inspired. Enough. Incredible. Excited. Worthy of it all. Felt like I can take a deep breath. I love that one. That one. Felt like I could take a deep breath. That was Manon. Inspired. Thank you. All of those things. So Emma, what would be your advice for everybody who still has that BS, down to earth truth, real truth? What would you say to everybody? What I loved also is, like, just because so many people are going to give you lots of different, everybody, I say, opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody's got one, right? But I love that you found your groove, but you really committed to your groove. You didn't let like any excuses get in the way too, like whatever, your daughter sitting on your son's face.
Yeah.
But then you're like, okay, but I'm still going to find 15 minutes here when they're over there playing, right? So what would be your final truth that you'd want everybody to say every time someone says an excuse of why they can't get new customers or why they can't get partners? What would you say?
I think my favorite thing that I learned was at my very first or second game plan that I went to, that Celine, who is our queen in Australia, like runs Juice Plus. She got up and she wrote the words blame, shame, and justify on a whiteboard. And I remember looking at her and I was just like, oh my gosh, she's talking to me. Like that is exactly what I do. I blame everything. I justify why I can't do something, and I shame myself for it. And I think that so many women do it. And the reason why people have it, when they listen to like the comments that people write, they write that because everyone thinks this, but no one says it. Like everyone thinks that, like every single person feels this way, but nobody actually comes out and says, you know what, that's exactly how I feel. Because we walk around trying to put on this persona that our life, social media did it to us, by the way. Like social media is a highlight reel. And then we do that in our business as well. And we don't talk about the hard parts of it. So I think that when you can just open up and just go, you know what, it's not always that easy. And I'm part of Mummies on a Mission. And I said to a lady the other day, I just want to earn more of an income so I can put my kids in daycare for longer. It's like I need more money to put them in daycare more. No, I'm kidding, but I'm not really kidding.
Choices.
But
it's being able to have choices is what it
is. And I think that with the whole blame, shame, and justify thing, that was so big for me. And then I was like, the thing is that your life is not changing. Everyone always talks about these life-changing moments. Your life is not changing. It's a you-changing moment. And if you don't realize the same BS stories that are stopping you and preventing you from going forward, if you don't realize what they are and you can't put a cap on them now, then you're never ever going to go. And it was having my daughter changed it completely, probably because that's when I started my personal development journey within Juice Plus at the same time. But I do not want, I always have this thing where I'm like, first of all, I don't want to get to the end of my life. I don't want to go to my grave thinking that I never actually lived a life, that I just watched someone else's life through my phone on social media. I watched other people live theirs.
Yep.
What a sad truth that is, that you get to what will you be doing? You're 86 and you're still watching TikTok and Instagram stories of all these people out there actually doing something. No way. So for me, that was a big one. And then secondly, I never ever, I have this 21st birthday moment. So when I first started the business, obviously having a newborn baby and a 1-year-old, and I was on their 21st birthday, what do I want them to say about me? Because I care more about what they think and who I am as a person and about any money or any business or any position in the business or any amount of customers or team or whatever. And so I'm like, I want them to say on their 21st birthday, I want them to say to me that they're proud of me. Like, they're proud of me for the work that I did. They're proud that I swam in my own lane. They're proud that I showed up like as a size 16 and 85 kilos in Australia doing Juice Plus. That's freaking unheard of. And I want them to be like, we're proud of you, Mum. For always showing up and not giving up on the bad days and not throwing it in. Like, you will always find a form of success within this business. If like, the only way that you won't is if you give up, if you hang up. And I just want them to say to me, Mum, like, you know, we're proud of you for everything you've done.
And they will. I mean, somebody, you know, when I look at that I started my business when Asher was 3 months old and Quinn was just 7, I think Josh was 11. And now to see, you know, that he's built a business, an international business. I mean, the Limitless girls in Australia are from his team, you know, and just to see that he's made such an impact around the world as well. And you're right, like that they look and they go, that's my mom, right? That and that they can feel that. And I guarantee you on their 21st birthday, even probably before that, they'll be saying some pretty awesome things. I'm sure they do already. So Emma, what's one homework that everybody can do? One thing that everybody can do that they can take action on after the call? What's one thing that they can do?
So I think that like one thing that has really, really helped me is that everyone's running with a story all the time. So my story was that like I wasn't like Instagram famous enough, and that I wasn't thin enough or pretty enough, or I wasn't all these things. And so I think for me, when I started to write that out, like, what are these, I'm sure Kira would have done something similar last week because she helped me with this, but it was like, write down what are the things that you do? What is the excuse that you're too busy in the morning to do it, or you work full time? You know, and that's what I was going to say. The words, it's easy for her because that's your homework. Take that out of your vocabulary altogether and replace it with, I can bring this. So it's kind of like, you know, like one of the girls in Australia has been in the business for like 11 months and she's just hit this massive promotion and she's absolutely booming. And I remember going through this motion with her, like, oh, it's easy for her because her kids are older. It's easy for her because she was a PT. Oh, it's easy for her because, like, you know, she's got a 6-pack. And you would go through all of those moments. So instead of doing that, you change it to, like, it doesn't matter what they've got. It's about what I can bring. I can be a wedding, and I have a big heart, and I care about people, and I don't want to see tired, like, cranky mums out there. Like, I want to be able to offer them a place where they can come and, like, they don't have to be a tired, cranky mum. Like, they can feel like they have a home and that they actually belong. I don't even know if that homework made any sense. I didn't prepare for that question. I don't know if that made sense.
What does your wedding look like? You're the wedding of the century. Like I used to say to my husband, I'm like, I'm the freaking catch. They need me more than I need them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get to do one other thing, and I think it's why we have so many people on the call, because you're so amazing. Oh my God, that was the best. I just said I have to have you on Take Action Tuesday as one of the speakers, so get ready.
Amazing.
Okay. How about tell me when to stop, because I'm going to give away two of the live streams. So you need to tell me when to stop. Tell me when to stop. Tell me when to stop. Tell me when to
stop.
Rachel. Where's Rachel? Rachel, where are you? Where's Rachel? Is Rachel? Is it Rachel? Let me see the gallery view. Rachel, where are you? Are you going to the event, Rachel? Where's Rachel? Do we see Rachel? Is she there somewhere? Rachel? Are you there? Is she there? Rachel, yes. Are you there, Rachel?
Is that me?
Are you going to the game plan?
I'm not this year live streaming.
Okay, did you already buy a live stream?
No.
Okay, so I need your email and I will send you money to go buy your live stream.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Okay, so just here and give me your email. One other one that you get to gift it to. Tell me when to stop. Tell me when to stop. Tell me when to stop. Oh, Veronica, you won. Look at girl, you put that out there. Where's Veronica? In Atlanta, Georgia. There's Veronica. Yeah. Veronica won. So, Veronica, you text me your email or Venmo or whatever that you got, and we'll get you too. Well, that was amazing. We've got Cheryl's call coming up right now. I'm so happy. You guys are always welcome to join us on this event that we do every Monday. Well, it's Tuesday there. So thank you for
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you.
speakers, and that was awesome. So good night, everybody, or good morning to you guys. Good night to us.
Thanks, guys. Bye.